Imagine a world where every country's flag is a unique splash of color, a visual representation of its history, identity, and culture. From the deep reds symbolizing bravery and revolution to the calming blues representing freedom and peace, from the lush greens of prosperity to the bright yellows of hope and energy, colors tell stories. They unite people under a common banner and carry legacies that span centuries. But have you ever stopped to wonder if something is missing? A color that seems almost erased from history? Look at the flags of the world, and you'll notice something strange. Purple is almost nowhere to be found. This is bizarre when you think about what purple represents. For centuries, it has been the color of royalty, luxury, and power. Kings and emperors draped themselves in purple robes. It was a symbol of divine right, of exclusivity, and of status. So why, in a world where flags serve as the ultimate expression of national pride, would this prestigious color be nearly absent? Was purple deliberately left out? Is there a hidden reason buried in the past that explains this mysterious absence? Or could there be something even more shocking about the history of flags that most people have never realized? Today, we're diving deep into the past, uncovering the fascinating story behind why purple flags are nearly non-existent, and the surprising truth might just change the way you look at history forever. Flags have been used for centuries, serving as national symbols, battle standards, and representations of cultural identity. Throughout history, certain colors have been more commonly used than others. But when it comes to purple, the world's flags seem to have unanimously excluded it. At first glance, this seems odd. After all, purple has long been associated with power, nobility, and wealth. Monarchs and emperors draped themselves in regal purple robes. The color was rare and valuable, a sign of prestige. So why didn't countries incorporate it into their flags? To answer this, we need to go back in time and explore the economics, politics, and symbolism of color. The story of purple begins with an ancient, almost mythical dye, Tyrian purple. Thousands of years ago, the Phoenicians discovered a way to produce this deep, rich hue from a small sea creature called the murex snail. But there was a catch. It took thousands of snails to produce just a few grams of dye, making purple one of the most expensive colors in the ancient world. Because of its extreme rarity and cost, purple became the color of emperors, kings, and high-ranking officials. Roman emperors, Byzantine rulers, and even Egyptian pharaohs reserved it for themselves. Commoners were forbidden from wearing it, and even among the wealthy elite, it was a rare luxury. With purple being so incredibly expensive, most kingdoms simply couldn't afford to use it in large quantities, especially not on something as widespread as a national flag. Flags, as we recognize them today, became widely used in the medieval period. They were designed to be easily distinguishable on the battlefield and in maritime navigation. Simplicity and practicality were key. Flags needed to be recognizable from a distance, using bold, easily produced colors. In medieval Europe, the most common dyes were derived from plants and minerals, producing shades of red, blue, yellow, white, and black. Purple, on the other hand, remained prohibitively expensive and impractical. By the time national symbols were being formalized in the 18th and 19th centuries, purple still hadn't made its way into widespread use. The 19th century changed everything. In 1856, an 18-year-old chemist named William Henry Perkin accidentally discovered the first synthetic purple dye, Movane, while trying to create a malaria treatment. Suddenly, purple was no longer reserved for the ultra-wealthy. The color became widely available and affordable, leading to a surge in popularity in fashion and textiles. However, by the time purple became accessible, most countries had already established their national flags. Many of these designs were steeped in historical tradition, making it unlikely that they would suddenly incorporate a new, previously unavailable color. Even as purple became affordable, its historical associations persisted. For centuries, it had been tied to monarchy, aristocracy, and religious authority, symbols that many new republics and revolutionary movements actively rejected. For example, during the 19th and 20th centuries, as former colonies gained independence, they often modeled their flags after revolutionary ideals, favoring bold primary colors over those linked to the old aristocracy. This further solidified the exclusion of purple from national flags. However, there were exceptions. One of the few examples of purple on a national flag comes from Spain's Second Republic, 1931 to 1939. The flag featured a purple stripe representing Castile, a historical kingdom of Spain. Unfortunately, When Francisco Franco's regime took power, this flag was abandoned, and Spain returned to its traditional red and yellow colors. Fast forward to today, and the absence of purple in national flags remains largely unchanged. While red, blue, and green dominate the world's banners, purple continues to be an anomaly, appearing in only a handful of cases. In fact, if you look at every sovereign nation's flag, you'll find that purple is present in only two, Nicaragua and Dominica. In Nicaragua's flag, the color isn't even in the main design but appears subtly within the coat of arms. A small rainbow arches over a central triangle, and within that spectrum of colors, a thin band of purple can be seen, almost as if it's hidden in plain sight. Meanwhile, Dominica stands as the only country to prominently feature purple in a national flag. The reason? A bird. At the center of the design sits the Ciceroo parrot, a rare species native to the Caribbean island, covered in striking green and purple feathers. Beyond these exceptions, purple remains virtually non-existent among national flags. However, its presence has grown in subnational and organizational banners. Cities, states, and regions have incorporated purple into their flags, particularly where local history or symbolism calls for it. Additionally, organizations, universities, and sports teams have embraced the color, especially in cases where purple represents nobility, ambition, or a unique identity. Perhaps the most recognizable use of purple in modern symbolism comes from the LGBTQ+ pride movement, where it appears in the rainbow flag as a symbol of spirit and diversity. Unlike national flags, which often reflect centuries-old traditions and limitations, modern movements and institutions have no such restrictions, allowing purple to flourish in spaces where creativity and self-expression take priority. Despite its scarcity in national emblems, purple is far from forgotten. Though history once made it nearly impossible to include, today, the barriers that kept it out are gone. Could we one day see more countries adopting purple in their flags? Only time will tell. Could we see more purple in national flags in the future? Possibly. As nations evolve and new states emerge, there's always room for change. Some regions and territories have already begun incorporating purple into their designs, particularly as the color's historical associations with royalty fade and new meanings, such as creativity, individuality, and transformation, emerge. With modern printing and dyeing technology making any color easily accessible, the practical barriers that once prevented purple's use no longer exist. The only remaining challenge is tradition and perception. So, why is purple so rare in national flags? The answer isn't as simple as a single reason. It's a fascinating mix of history, economics, and cultural symbolism. For centuries, purple was one of the most exclusive and expensive colors to produce, making it virtually inaccessible for widespread use in flags. Only the wealthiest rulers and elite figures could afford it, and by the time synthetic dyes made it more accessible, most nations had already cemented their flag designs using colors with deeper historical and cultural significance. But that doesn't mean purple is any less powerful. On the contrary, its scarcity has only added to its mystique and prestige. Throughout history, purple has been associated with royalty, wisdom, spirituality, and individuality, standing apart from the more common hues that dominate national symbols. Its rare presence in flags doesn't reflect a lack of admiration for the color, but rather the unique circumstances that shaped its availability and perception over time. Even though most nations have stuck to traditional color palettes, purple continues to thrive in other ways. It has found a place in regional and organizational flags, in the emblems of universities and sports teams, and most significantly, in modern social movements. From LGBTQ+ pride flags to the banners of causes and institutions that embrace its symbolism, purple has managed to carve out a space for itself beyond the limitations of national heraldry. But could the tides change? Will we ever see a country boldly adopt a predominantly purple flag? It's not impossible. As the world evolves, so do the symbols that represent it. New nations emerge, and old ones sometimes reconsider their national emblems. Perhaps, in the future, a country will choose to break from tradition and embrace purple as a central part of its identity, rewriting history and giving this long-overlooked color its rightful place in vexillological lore. Until then, purple remains a fascinating anomaly, a color revered, respected, and remembered, even if it isn't flown on flagpoles around the world. Now that you know the fascinating history behind purple's absence from national flags, we want to hear from you. Do you think more countries should embrace purple in their flag designs? If you had the chance to create a new national flag, would you include purple in it? How would you design it? Would it be a bold royal purple background, a subtle accent in the emblem, or a modern reinterpretation of classic flag patterns? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your creative ideas. Who knows? Maybe one day, a nation will take inspiration from discussions like these and bring purple back into the world of flags. If you enjoyed this deep dive into vexillology and the hidden stories behind flags, make sure to like this video to support our work. Share it with your friends. Challenge them to design a purple flag. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss another fascinating look at the history, symbolism, and secrets hidden in everyday things. We have more incredible content coming up, so stick around for our next exploration. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.